Right, you ready to rock? Kadeem's having a little bit of a panic attack. He's all right. We're going. Bulletproof Ballers podcast, episode 2. We're here with Charlie Kirby, the barefoot footballer on Instagram. We'll at him down below. Our entire mission, our entire goal is to get people from physical limitations, injuries with inside the body, pain, that kind of stuff, back to football. Charlie has had this experience. He's had chronic foot pain for a lot of years. So we're just going to ask questions about what he's been through, how he's dealt with that, and see if we can get any golden nuggets for the people watching right now. So, Kadeem, let's ask some questions. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Great to have you here, Charlie.
Good to be here.
I know part of your story already, but I'm really curious, because you mentioned earlier, it started at 10 years old was when you first started experiencing foot pain. This is crazy to me. So when was kind of the first... Do you have this first experience when you first experienced it?
Yeah, so I first started getting foot pain, I think it was around 10 years old. And the first experience I had was when I was playing football. So I got like a shooting pain, which felt like in the core of my heel, like every time I sprinted towards the football. And yeah, it started having a bigger impact on me after a couple of years. I started having to come off at the end of football games to like take my socks off, shin pads, to apply like deep freeze, just to finish a game, which at the age 12, it's not ideal. So yeah, then I had to start sort of changing the way I played football. Obviously, sprinting's a huge thing, but I had to. It was okay because I played centre mid, so I could get away with like. Kind of just like floating
It's been
around.
like the Busquets type.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, managed to continue playing at a pretty decent level. And then as the years went on, it just got more chronic and started affecting me more severe at like 17. Unfortunately, had to give up football, which was a big thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's...
Yeah, and you played football all your life. Like, what kind of level were you playing at? Was it Sunday League? Was it like a high level? Like, what kind of...
Yeah, so I started just like locally. Well, I started when I was 3, actually. Started playing football when I was 3. Then rolling, and then joined my first Sunday League football team at age 6. And then, played sort of like pretty box standard Sunday League, and then I moved to like a Premier League, like Midlands Premier League Sunday League club.
Wow.
Which was pretty good. About age 10, I think, and then age 12, I got scouted for Villa. So I went for trials for Villa, sprained my ankle down the park during the trials, which was not ideal. Had trials for Villa, and then had trials, so at 10, trials for Villa, then 12, had trials for Wolves, and then I had trials for Blues when I was 6, actually. But Wolves, I got the closest at signing on as academy player for Wolves. It was between me and another guy, but this other guy was like a foot taller than me and just like super physical. So unfortunately that didn't go to plan. Then sort of went back to playing with my mates, sort of age 12 to like 15, and then moved to a bit higher level, and then started playing for the county. Well, I was playing for the county through school. And then age 17, funnily enough, I got selected by the county to go for England schoolboy trials.
Oh, really?
Which is like a super amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
But it was one of these like catch-22 situations, because like it was obviously like this huge opportunity to go make it as like go for it pro, but like my feet at this point were just pretty bad. And so I remember being at the trials, trying to obviously like imprint my impression on the trials, and I could barely even sprint, and I was just thinking in my head, like, this is...
And was that because of the pain? Was that because of the mind restriction? Like,
I just physically... So it's difficult to explain, but like every time I went to try and sprint to the ball, it just felt like all in my feet, just like this. It's very hard to explain, but just the intrinsic mechanisms of the foot just weren't working. So I just couldn't. It was like this weird pain where like it just didn't allow me to like propel myself forward.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a lot of mind stuff going on as well, because it had been going on for a number of years. But I remember like the trials thinking like I can't continue at the level that I want to play at, and so I essentially decided to give up football.
What was like the kind of moment where you were like, yeah, like I have to give this up? Was it that trial where you're talking about where you couldn't, like?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was literally like weeks after the trials.
How was that?
Yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough to deal with. Because like, if you think from the age of like 3 to 17, like I was playing football like pretty much every day for Saturday league, Sunday league, for school. So like a big part of my identity was like wrapped up in football. So in a way, like giving up football, like I felt like a part of my identity was kind of like taken away. And so I've only really noticed now looking back that like I lost a lot of confidence and self-esteem, I think, from giving up football. And I didn't actually realise that until like the last couple of years when I've been reflecting on like having issues with confidence from like, yeah, around that age to like my early 20s. And yeah.
Wow. So you can see
That's crazy.
you can see a direct correlation there. Do you think? Or it's just like.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And obviously from like 17, the pain got more serious, and then gets to like sort of age 20, and unable to go to the gym, running, couldn't work. I could work, but like part-time work, so I was on universal credit. And
Wow.
so obviously all these things were adding up, and like your confidence gets affected. You're like, I'm not even 20 years old, and like all these things I can't do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, because you said you stopped playing football at 17, right? And then the pain still got worse. Why do you feel that was? Or
Yeah, so I was obviously playing football a lot, quite intensively at 17. And interestingly enough, I stopped, I finished school around the same time. Well, during sixth form, I was obviously playing football loads, but then on a Saturday I started working for Costa Coffee.
I hate my
As
when I was younger.
Did you?
Yeah, I hated the smell of coffee after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't drink
Now
coffee
you
for
love
like 4 years.
Yeah.
So looking back, I wasn't really giving my feet any rest, because there wasn't a day of rest. Like on Saturday, I'd be working 8 to 10 hours, standing up all day, and then Sunday I'd play football, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was playing sport at school, because I was involved with like everything at school, like sports-wise. So that's really when it started to get more serious. So yeah.
Yeah, and I want to kind of talk about like what do you think it could have been prevented? What things could you have done? What didn't you do? Why do you think it happened? Like, why is this 12 to 17-year-old, even older than that, like this big period? Why are you having to deal with chronic foot pain when obviously the human body is like, you're not supposed to have pain? So what do you think the reason is, and what do you think could have been done to prevent that?
Yeah, so I think I've only really understood true foot health probably from the age of about 23. And that was, funnily enough, when my feet started healing. But I've realised how important like footwear is for like the function of our feet.
Yeah.
And so, for example, with these trainers here, they've got like a wide toe box.
Little sponsor.
Vivo. So that allows if you imagine that's my toes,
Yeah.
it allows the toes to like splay out. And so this allows the foot to function like naturally as it, usually should if you weren't wearing any shoes.
Yeah.
And so when you I don't have an example here, but if you wear conventional shoes, essentially that like restricts the toes, so it crushes the toes in. And so the foot is so complex and so dynamic, like it needs to have that space, especially in the toes, to be able to function and act as a, and to perform as a foot. And so I do think that there are obviously some cases where you've got a predisposition to foot pain. Like for me, for example, like a lot of people can get away throughout their whole life of wearing these, dysfunctional shoes and not getting foot pain. But then obviously, like I was a bit of a rare case. Like I didn't know really anyone my age that was dealing with foot pain. But 100%, I think.
So many people will be. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't know
sure.
anyone that's dealing with knee issues until I started posting, and then everyone's dealing with knee issues because you're in that crowd. So it's like, to share your story and do this is amazing. And it's funny you say that because, like, thinking about it, like, especially football boots, like, it's just crushing your feet in there, and then you have to kick a ball. You're literally playing with your feet, and it's crushing your feet in. Like, imagine what that is doing to your foot.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I believe that I wouldn't have developed foot pain if I was wearing, this is another shout out, there's like one barefoot shoe brand that's on the market at the moment that's affordable called Nature Athletics. And so it's same as a football boot, but it's got that really wide toe box area, and it allows the foot to fully flex.
Yeah,
and so I think it will be the future of football boots.
Yeah, I was
personally.
literally going to say Bulletproof Ballers, ex-barefoot baller, football boot collab. We were thinking about
100%.
it as well. But yeah, and then on top of that, like, do you think that there's that? Is there any other factors that played a role in you actually developing the pain? Do you think? Was that constant? It was the overuse of like playing.
Yeah,
constantly?
I just think I spent so much time in these football boots. This is another thing that I didn't realise. But I actually used to, and my dad told me to this, it's not blaming anyone, but like, I think it's some old school technique, but I used to like tie my laces like really, really tight. I think it's like a way to like get like power when you're kicking the ball, but actually like looking back now, I'm crushing my toe, I'm crushing my feet even more. And I actually had like the Copper Monday owls with like the really long laces. So I would even wrap the laces round once and then tighten it. So like if you think that's cutting off the blood, circulation and stuff. So personally, I think it's the dysfunctional footwear in combination with just repetitively. There was obviously some initial damage that was caused when I was, maybe 10.
Yeah.
And then there was never any chance to heal. But yeah, health professionals always said just carry on doing what you're doing. Because they thought, which, I kind of get it, because there's a lot of kids that have growing pains. And so there are kids that get knee pain, shin splints and stuff when they're growing up, and then it just fades away. So that was their intention, was, keep doing your thing. Yeah,
that's what a lot of people were told. But like, even if it would like eventually fade away, like, well, I have to deal with this pain right now. I'm not worried about the future when it's going to fade away. Like, what can I do right now? Oh, you can just either live with it, or like if it's really bad, like take painkillers or this and that.
Yeah.
Like, is that the right way to go about it?
No, definitely not. I think that's the thing. Like, you see a doctor, they give their advice, and then they might give you a routine to do. Then you go off and you do your routine, and then it doesn't get solved, but then you get referred to someone completely different.
Yeah.
So you're kind of getting pushed from pillar to post. Yeah. So it's.
Yeah, and so you get to this point, and you've dealt with foot pain for this long. What was the kind of turning point? Obviously, you said you started learning about foot health. That's when it started to disappear. But like, What was it that made you go like, no, I actually need to learn about this? And what were the main things that you did to actually overcome it?
Yeah, so I'd probably say like I got serious about trying to fix it around age 20. Obviously, I've been trying to fix it like throughout my whole life, but I really got serious like around, age 20. And I tried so many things by this point that I started looking at like more out of the box sort of things like meditation, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, trying to focus more on the mind, doing like Wim Hof, like deep breathing, ice baths, which like helped massively like mentally. Probably kept me from going insane, but like physically it didn't really have any impact on my pain levels. And then it was age sort of like 23, so 2.5 years ago. There was like a few month period where it's funny actually, like grounding, so earthing, where you like literally just connect your bare feet with the grass. I actually had a friend recommend me do this when I was like 17, and his dad's like really into like health and stuff. Shout out Joe Stankham, Fish. He recommended me to do it when I was like 17, but like at the time my feet weren't at the point where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try this out, and so I didn't think anything of it. And then fast forward to like age 23, I come across this video of this woman called Barefoot Sue, and she was talking about the benefits of grounding. And I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna try it. Like there's no downsides to giving it a go. Like, so I went in my garden and just spent 15 minutes, like just sat down, bare feet, read my book, 15 minutes. And after like a week, I noticed something different. And I thought, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to do more of it. And grounding was the only thing I did differently. And funny enough, it was during COVID, so there wasn't really much going on. And the ground was super, super moist because of all the rain we'd had. It was like March time. So me and my mate went on like a barefoot walk like every single day for like an hour or two for a good like week or two. And like honestly, this sounds ridiculous, but like my pain levels went from like a consistent 8 out of 10 to like a 2 or a 3 out of 10.
Wow.
Which was, it doesn't sound legit. Like it, and everyone's like, is this a placebo? But like honestly, like I had no expectations of this whatsoever. Like it was just some random thing. I tried everything and nothing had worked. Like I just thought like, surely not just putting my feet. So when people say it was placebo, like I know it wasn't placebo. Like I'm the only person that knows that. And so anyway, like I thought that was the cure. And so I got really carried away and started going I immediately went back to the gym, started going for runs again.
Bit too fast.
And I didn't realise by this point how important strengthening and mobility work is in conjunction with all these other things. And so, the pain, within 2 or 3 weeks, the pain started to creep back, but it never returned to the level it was at. So the grounding gave me like a boost, the initial boost that I needed. And it gave me the first like glimmer of hope, really, that I'd ever had.
That's really funny you say that, actually, because that's kind of what the sled was to me, in terms of like I had this pain for years and years and years, and it's not like the sled just like fixed my knee pain, but it was that glimmer of hope that was like, I've had knee pain every day for 5 years, and I took some steps backwards on this sled, and now there's like a relief of pain when I hadn't even had that. Like every time I tried to go to the gym or every time I tried to do anything, like it would only make it worse because I couldn't find my level to work at. Obviously that was because of my lack of knowledge and whatever, but the sled is such a simple thing to do that. So like the grounding for the feet, like it's the same thing of like, wow, this initial rehab tool can get us to open our minds and maybe like give us that little boost needed and that hope needed to be like, I'm actually gonna do this.
That's all you need, like this one initial spark, right? And then what happened after that?
100%. Yeah, so It was a crazy like few months because I obviously discovered the grounding. That gave me some initial healing, and like honestly, like my parents will say, like I was literally high for like a number of weeks because I'd never had like any relief from it.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, yeah, well, this is the cure, and I was like, yeah, I was on cloud 9 for like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it was shortly after that I discovered the Foot Collective.
Yeah.
Which are if you don't already know, they're like a collective of like physiotherapists, founded by a guy from Canada called Nick St. Louis. And I think it was a podcast that I listened to, and I just resonated with. It was the first stuff that I'd listened to about foot health that I like really, really resonated with. And so I was like, yeah, this just makes sense. Like I hadn't even tried it out, but I just was like, something just makes sense about this. And I think it had a lot to do with the footwear, because I'd never been, I didn't know how, I didn't even know much about barefoot shoes by that point. And they were talking about like, you know, making foot training fun. And for me, like foot training was never, it wasn't fun. Like generic rehab routines that I'd done in the past, like I struggled with consistency, because I think a lot of people that are dealing with like chronic foot pain can relate with how tedious like the exercises can be. So like the Foot Collective like really try and make it fun. And so I think, yeah, their style of like rehab combined with the initial grounding was just like the perfect combination to just set me
Amazing.
on the upward.
Amazing. And yeah, so with where you're at now, like how long has it been since you did Find the Foot Collective, and like how far have you come since then?
Yeah, so I'm 25 now, so it's been between 2 and 2.5 years since that initial healing with the grounding. So yes, it has been like, don't get me wrong, it's not been like
Never
a
is.
plain.
Never is.
Yeah,
Lesson. It's never. It's.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's been lots of months of just like chilling, feet are feeling great, and then I'll overdo it. There'll be like some huge flare up. Then I'll be thinking like, what's gone wrong, and you know. But the cool thing is like, it's one of those where like as soon as I think all you really need is to see that you've got some initial healing for you to really like know that like you can fully heal. And so like it doesn't really matter like the flare-ups along the way, because you know that your feet can improve some like a certain amount, or knees or whatever. And so like it's difficult when you get the flare-ups, because you get, you know, your confidence gets knocked and you're thinking like, you know, why did that happen? But I think like the more flare-ups I had, the more in tune I got with what was actually flaring them up.
100%.
And now I know exactly like how much, you know, I can do, like what's going to flare me up, like.
Such a great point.
And I think the more experience you have with like chronic pain, and like I feel like the more armor you just build up to just, you know, feel like you can overcome anything really.
Yeah, and you're literally more in tune to help people, because that's the thing of like, I've pushed my body way too many times, like too far too many times, and I got this flare up here and a flare up that I know exactly how my body feels. So it's like when you do have that, you literally know, okay, this is what this is, what this. But then, like you then can tell that to someone, so they don't then have to experience all the flare-ups of like, oh no, you probably shouldn't do this today because I done this and then this happened. So it's like, we'll take it this, and then that's the beautiful thing. You're giving back to people and showing them, okay, I took the wrong route. I took the wrong route. Here's my lesson summed up. You do it. And it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like I had a message from a client like yesterday, just something as simple as just changing her footwear. So she was wearing like conventional trainers, and I just said like, get a pair of like ultras. So she's been dealing with foot pain for like 2 years now. And yeah, like transition trainers are like, they have the aspects of a barefoot style trainer, but they've got the cushioning, so that people that are dealing with, because what I think people that are dealing with foot pain struggle with is actually a lot of them are aware that the barefoot shoes are gonna heal their feet eventually, but there's like a huge gap between conventional shoes, which are like cushioned, they got loads of support, to like a barefoot style shoe.
You don't have the strength.
Like I bought my first pair of Evos probably 2 years ago, and they literally sat in my cupboard like gathering dust for a year because I just couldn't. I couldn't handle them at the time, but I wasn't aware of transition trainers. And then when I discovered ultras, which are like a perfect, that's why I call them transition trainers, because it's perfect gateway into a barefoot style shoe, because they've got the wide toe box, which is the most important aspect of a trainer.
Yeah.
And then they've got the neutral sole, so you're not on an angle, your body's completely flat. Your feet are completely flat, and then, but they've got that cushioning and they've got a little bit of support. And then there's even like different models of an ultra, so you can like go from thick ultras to thin ultras. And she messaged me yesterday and she was like, yeah, honestly, like these trainers have like just changed the game. And I'm like, it's just so simple. But this wouldn't have come along if I hadn't have experienced all this stuff and like had to trial out different trainers. And yeah, so
and yeah, that's kind of something I want to touch on as well. Like, it's the beauty of social media, and like, you've had this experience, and now where you want to take it, what you looking to do with this. Obviously, you just said there, like your client, like you've given her that experience. Like, I could just see by the look on her face, like ecstatic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I think it's because like obviously with how much it's affected me with foot pain, like I do feel like it's my mission now to like help as many people that are dealing with foot pain as I can, because like also I find like people that are dealing with, for example, chronic foot pain or like chronic knee pain, someone that's got like a broken leg, like it's visual, like you can see that they've got a broken leg. But for someone that's dealing with like systemic inflammation or chronic foot pain, like I think it's really tough, because people actually don't even see that you've got some sort of like disability going on, because so yeah, like I think it's really tough, because like people don't actually acknowledge that you're actually going through anything. But in terms of like where I see things going in the future, like I think another mission is to like make foot training like as fun as possible. So like that's why I love the Foot Collective, and that I like partnering with them, because like their ethos is like make it fun. You know, like I went to their event in London, and it was just like, it just brought together this group of like people that are like health professionals, but just so down to earth, so chilled, and like, yeah, we just had fun. Like, we learned a bunch about foot health, but at the same time, and that's made me realise that like, really like we need to like make this stuff fun to do, especially feet, because foot training can be tedious.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, you don't have too much time now, so we'll wrap up with the last few questions. But obviously, it's that one of like, someone watching this is going to be in that position.
Yeah.
So, last few minutes, give them the advice that you would want.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I would just say, like, no matter how like hard it is and how like difficult the journey can be, like, it's cliche, but like, just don't give up. Just keep going. Even if you get knocked down by opinions, like I had multiple opinions telling me like, you're not going to recover from this, you're going to have to deal with this for the rest of your life, just take painkillers. And like, if I'd have like taken that advice on board, like God knows where I'd be right now. Like I wouldn't be sat here with you guys. I wouldn't be playing football again. So I'd say, first of all, like, don't take other people's advice on board, and like don't take on their belief systems as your own, because like that can be super detrimental. And yeah, just keep going. Like you will find solutions. Like if you really just you just have to have a dogged mentality of just like not giving up. Yeah, that's all I'd say. Just don't give up, keep going, and you will find solutions.
Yeah, and obviously that's on the mindset side of stuff. In terms of, obviously you mentioned a few things there with the transition trainers and the shoes and stuff like that. So that's like, would you say that's like if you could give like, I know it's tough. Someone asked me like, okay, like what are the things you're gonna do with your knees? Obviously Ben's broken that down to a beautiful system of AGG, like it's so simple. Like is there like I don't want to put you on the spot, but like is there like a few things that you'd be like, okay, these are the main things to look at straight away, and then you can start diving in?
Yeah, 100% footwear. Straight away, get out of conventional shoes. Even if it means changing to an Ultra with like a thick cushioning, like the main thing is you want like a wide toe box that's going to allow your toes to have the space they need to like strengthen back up. Because like with the narrow toe box, it's not able to actually the foot can't actually re-strengthen and build strength because of the dysfunctional shape that the foot is in the shoe. So 100% change your shoes to something like an Ultra. I know I'm shouting a lot of brands out here, but it's what's helped me. Like
Products are products. Like if this is a solution, it's a solution.
100%.
And then like would you say grounding?
Yeah, grounding, of course. Like it's free. I'm just talking from my own experience. Like it had like such a huge impact on me. And even if it doesn't work, like even if it doesn't have an impact, there's no downsides to it. Like surgery, you can have complications. Grounding, you're only gonna reduce your inflammation in your body.
Yeah.
And then you want to be like doing barefoot strengthening exercises, mobility exercises, and if you can, like increase your steps, and also like use your step count on your phone. Track your step count, because like I realize how important it is to, if you're having a flare up, you want to become your own scientist, and you want to be like checking up on like, oh, I had a flare up, like was my step count like double as much? Because I've had clients where they've had a flare up and I've said like, have a look at your step count, and like funnily enough, like they've had a day where their step count's been like double, and they're like, wow, I didn't realize. Because you don't realize how much variation you can have from a given day with steps.
Yeah.
So just things like that.
And when you do, when you go do something for a few days, go on a couple of hikes or something, even my feet are like destroyed. Like it's nuts. Like, but yeah, like this is in our message as well. Like, I think it's so important for the feet. Like, I'm taking an extra look at it. I find out me and Kadeem just walk all the way to the thing, like barefoot and stuff like that. And I want to get them as strong as possible. Like it's for pain 100%, but for anything. Okay, like when Ben says build from the ground up, no. Yeah. Not just tips, not just cast, like really build from the ground up. Like the sled does that, the sled's digging in with the thing, the tips got to be cast, but this also look at how our toes are moving, what kind of footwear we're wearing, all that kind of stuff, because that is your foundation, that is your base, and anything built on top of a dodgy base is going to be awful.
100%. Build from the ground up.
That's it.
Last?
Yeah, final words. What I can say is literally, first of all, amazingly inspiring story. I hope this inspires at least one person watching this video, millions in the future, because I've now heard it over and over again from people going to other professionals, getting the opinion of, okay, you're never going to do this again, you're never going to do that again. I've heard it over and over again from the environment I've been in. And each time what ends up happening is this beautiful success story, right? With kind of each person has their own individual story, and that's what we're here for. We're trying to inspire you out there to have your transformation for yourself. And if you need that to hear that over and over again, make sure to follow us. We're preaching this message because if you've been in pain for so long, hearing it once, hearing it twice might not be enough. You might have to hear it a third time, a fourth time, so that you actually take that step and make it the thing that you're putting most of your attention to. And as you gave amazing tips, right? Grounding, free stuff that you can do, nutrition as well. That's what we're trying to build up. So yeah, make sure to subscribe us to not miss any more of these really inspiring podcasts, and we'll see us in the next video.